Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're checking out the secret rules of being an American.
Yeah, but you're not even in my league, mate. America, the land of the free, home of the brave, and for reasons I've still not figured out, ranch dressing on everything. I moved here 16 years ago, and while I've since discovered that a flannel is called a washcloth, nobody prepared me for the secret rules of being an American.
And I'm not talking about stuff that I saw on the citizenship test. No, these are the bizarre unwritten social codes that govern everyday life.
Like the fact that "what's up" isn't an actual question, but a stand-in for hello. I had to learn that the hard way after responding with "not too good" after last night's White Castle. Meanwhile, one of my own not-so-secret rules is if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, do that now.
Y'all be sure to go to Lost on the Pond and like and subscribe. And maybe give me a like and subscribe here on this channel too, maybe. What's he gonna say? People don't really say that "what's up" anymore. What's up? It's from a old commercial in the 90s, I think. But it did linger for a long time. What's he gonna say? I don't know. I'm expecting to have things pointed out that I do all the time that are actually considered to be weird or abnormal. Let's see.
In the meantime, here are the secret rules of being an American that nobody talks about except me and occasionally Reddit.
The power of the front porch wave? Okay.
In recent times, I've become aware of a particular American, or perhaps even Midwestern phenomenon, the front porch wave.
This one appears to be most common in the suburbs. On several occasions since I moved into this house, I've been walking through my neighborhood, minding my own business, when suddenly a stranger who's sitting on their porch will raise their hand and wave at me.
My British instincts kicked in, and I immediately thought, do I know this person? Did I miss a social engagement? Do they have posters of me on their wall?
Of course, it turns out I didn't know them. In America, you wave at people that you don't know. It's just a sign of neighborliness.
Stop generalizing Americans, Lawrence, because only a total weirdo would wave at a stranger. And I've just realized I'm pointing at a stranger.
That's a good American accent. Lawrence, that's very good. British people wave at people, right? That's not a weird thing. If you're in a small enough town in America, too, as you're driving, people will have their hand on the wheel and they'll wave like that as you go by at strangers. In small towns, usually, not in big cities. But British people wave, right? At strangers, just hello, right?
Total weirdo would wave at a stranger. And I've just realized I'm pointing at a stranger.
But the first few times it happened, I panicked and waved back with all the confidence of a hammer.
That's what you should do.
Covered in milk.
Good.
The front porch wave is part of a broader tradition.
I'm sorry, I was talking over him. What do you say?
With all the confidence of a hammer covered in milk. The front
confidence of a hammer covered in milk. Gross.
I panicked and waved back with all the confidence of a hammer covered in milk. The front porch wave is part of a broader tradition of American suburban politeness. And sometimes it's even more horrifying than that.
Pedestrians saying hello. Yo, no, this isn't an American thing. People do this all over the world, right? I notice when I'm in a residential area, walking around Los Angeles, you see someone walking too and you say hi, right? But if you're in the city, on the streets, there's just too many people to say hi to everybody, so you don't really do it. Sometimes in the residential areas, though, some people avoid eye contact. I don't say hi to them, because then that would be weird. But people all over the world say hi, right?
I was just strolling down an ordinary American sidewalk when it happened. A stranger, someone I had never met, had no prior connection to, and honestly had no logical reason to interact with, looked me in the eye and said, "Hello."
I panicked.
Where I come from, this interaction only ever involves a confused tourist or maybe an over-enthusiastic charity worker. You don't expect it from somebody who lives around the corner. But in America, the gregarious pedestrian is wide rife.
On a separate occasion, another passerby nodded and confidently uttered the phrase, "How's it going?" I was mortified. At first, I thought I'd stumbled into a small town where everybody knew each other, but it wasn't that, because this was a thriving cityscape known as Indianapolis.
Americans, these remarkably sociable people, seem to have perfected the art of the passing greeting.
Damn it, I've lived here my whole life and I have never greeted somebody while walking. I also don't walk.
Whether it's a simple nod, a hey there, or the slightly more advanced how you doing, which again requires no meaningful response.
My therapist told me that the best way to overcome your fears is to face them. So I've reluctantly started doing it myself. About once a week while walking the dog, I issue my own hello to passers-by, unless it happens to be Suburban Sue, in which case I pretend I haven't seen her. Of course, my newfound politeness has led to some confusion when I visit home and accidentally greet strangers who then assume that I am a confused tourist, and I suppose in a weird way, I am. Thankfully, something that alleviates this problem and means that I don't have to ask for directions in my own country is GPS. Something I'd only recommend using overseas if you have a good data plan.
And that is why I've partnered.
You snuck an ad in there on us. I've never heard of this Saley, but y'all be sure to go there, I guess. British people have told me in the comments that they say hi to people walking by. I don't think this is just an American thing, is it? People say hi, right? Actually, when I first moved to Los Angeles, I said hi to everybody I walked by on the street. Then a friend of mine said, you can't do that here because people will think you're crazy. And he was right. But I still do it when I go up in the residential area. Let's just zoom past that. Okay, small talk.
Small talk in Britain usually consists of two people agreeing that those clouds over there don't look too good, do they?
If you took away weather from the national discourse, British people would recoil in horror at the mere thought that small talk is even happening.
But in America, small talk is like the 5th most popular sport, just ahead of soccer. Some Americans will talk to anyone, anywhere, about anything.
Except for the millions who do not, because talking is overwhelming and people are dumb.
Standing in line at the grocery store, expect a full conversation about your purchases, your weekend plans, and occasionally whether or not you're that guy from YouTube.
At first, I didn't know enough small talk to keep up, which forced me to Google, what does "de bears" mean?
The trick, though, is mastering the right topics.
British people have small talk, right? Something that I've learned from these British culture videos is that British people do have small talk, but it's usually about external things that the two people are observing together. But American small talk is more personal, where people will interrogate each other. Where do you live? How many kids you have? Are you married? What's your religion? What do you think happens when you die? What do you think of Israel and Palestine? Whereas the Brits, like he's saying, talk about the weather. Oh, Margaret Thatcher.
The trick, though, is mastering the right topics. Food? Safe. Sport? Absolutely. But never, and I mean never, bring up politics. Unless that person has a bumper sticker that you happen to agree with, then it's fine.
No, I don't want to make it sound like Americans aren't capable of deep conversation. I mean, I've been the subject of many. It's just they've also turned surface-level chatter into an art form. And it's only once you've mastered it yourself that you can bring up the important stuff like, hello, where can I get edibles for a friend that's into that sort of thing? He's still on the phone. Did you hear that just now? Right, I'm trying to make a video, so can you hang up? We'll get Mommy and Daddy to hang up then. But over time, I've come to appreciate American small talk for what it is. It's basically about building a brief human connection, or destroying one if they don't get British sarcasm.
Personal space. Yeah, small talk is like single-serving friend, as they say on Fight Club, the movie, 1999. David Fincher, Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, and Tim Burton's wife. Personal space.
If there's one thing that Americans guard more fiercely than their freedom, it's their personal space.
In Britain, we're used to cosy queues and cramped public transport, but in America, there seems to be an invisible bubble around everyone.
If you stand too close to somebody at the grocery store, they'll give you a look usually reserved for pickpockets or my wife's cousin Chad.
This obsession with space extends to every aspect of life. Cars are bigger, roads are wider, and personal space isn't just a concept, it might as well be a constitutional right. Am I right?
You obviously didn't go to school here.
Back when I was a stage actor, I thought it would be perfectly fine to hug everybody after the show, which is the only time that hugging is acceptable in Britain. But the American actors just weren't into it, and honestly, neither was I, so absolutely no one won.
If you stand too close while chatting, the other person will slowly retreat, especially if you've run out of Old Spice.
And if you think this is somehow a criticism, think again. Because I also like my space. I mean, why do you think I keep you all 6 feet away from the camera?
Those pearly whites. My teeth are yellow because I drink coffee. Yeah, personal space. I have noticed, not with British people, but with other Europeans. Well, British are no longer European, so with Europeans, Eastern Europeans, they're a little close. They get a little close, a little too close. I don't want to smell ya. You know, let's not smell each other. Not yet, anyway. Gross. That said, if you're in a place like a bus or a subway car, people will get close and it's not a big deal. It's more like if you're in a public space where there's plenty of room, let's use that room, right? Let's use it. And stay there. Stay over there. Right? Huh? 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 Yeah.
Aha! Yes, the infamous American smile. A beacon of warmth, friendliness, and dental insurance.
Now, I'll admit, I don't encounter beaming grins ever since I moved to Chicago, but in Indiana, people would flash dem pearly whites all the time. They don't speak like that.
I mean, all teeth look immaculate to a British person.
And such smiles might be accompanied by a greeting such as, "Oh my God, are you British?" Or, "Hello, welcome to Applebee's."
Actually, when it comes to this particular stereotype of Americans, restaurant servers do a lot of the heavy lifting.
Americans that I've known who've worked as waitstaff often tell me that they have to force this smile when, for instance, a customer thinks they're being original by saying, "My beer glass has a hole in the bottom." Hilarious. But it did stand out to me when I first moved here because in Britain, not only do waitstaff not usually smile, but you don't normally see them for about an hour, ironically to give you personal space.
And British people, in general, aren't as likely to smile at strangers.
So he's not talking about the fact that Americans get their teeth fixed and whitened. He's talking about just smiling. I'm actually constantly surprised at how many waitstaff don't smile at me. How often the grocery store clerk doesn't smile at me. Like, just smile at me. Sometimes I'll say thank you to somebody, and they don't even respond. Sometimes I'll say hello and smile at the grocery store clerk, and they don't even look at me. They don't even reply, and it grinds my gears. I'm trying to brighten your day. Accept it. Right? Right? Accept my gift.
Ironically, to give you personal space.
And British people, in general, aren't as likely to smile at strangers. Actually, given our dental makeup, that's probably how we keep crime down.
A smile in America says, "I'm friendly, I'm approachable, and I'm in no way here to sell you double glazing." Actually, it can mean that.
Oh, it totally. Yes, it can. Midwestern goodbyes. What does this mean?
And finally, the Midwestern goodbye, a phenomenon that's so drawn out it makes Return of the King look like a short.
My father-in-law had it down to a science.
First of all, there's the initial goodbye. This is where somebody claps their hands together and says,
"Well, we better get going."
and this is a lie. The only thing that gets going is more conversation.
Because next, we enter the standing in the kitchen phase. This is where everybody...
Oh my God, he's so right. He's so right. British people do this too, though, right? British people do this too. British people do this too. I know you do. Because you're so polite and friendly that to just get up and walk out the door would be really rude. You gotta maintain that politeness, right?
More conversation.
Because next, we enter the standing in the kitchen phase. This is where everybody pretends to be leaving, but instead forms a conversation huddle by the fridge. Then comes the porch descent. And there's no waving here. This is where you all finally migrate to the door, but not before bonding over, I don't know, grandma's recent bowel issues. And just when you think you're free, it's time for the driveway chat, while standing next to your car, hoping they don't notice your bumper stickers.
And finally, the reverse goodbye. This is when you pull out of the driveway with your windows down,
Exchanging emotional words like you're in a Hallmark movie.
Call me when you get there. Tell your mom I said hi. Steve, drive safe.
and just like that, it's
Lawrence, very good American accent. Very good.
Hi, Steve, drive safe.
And
Drive
just like
safe.
that, it's 2 a.m.
Okay, this one actually is accurate.
Now, part of me almost didn't include the Midwestern goodbye on this list.
After all, the theme of this video is
Secret rules of being an American.
not.
Yo, another thing, maybe British people do this too. If this is Christmas or Thanksgiving or some holiday and you're at a family's place, my family, and I've seen other families do this, as you're driving away from the house, the people who live in that house will either stand in the front yard and wave or at a window looking out and wave as you drive away. In fact, my grandparents had a long-ass driveway, probably 100 yards, and they would stay at the house and wave at us while we drove that 100 yards. They'd wave the whole way. It made me feel good. I like that. I don't know why, but I like it.
Western goodbye on this list.
After all, the theme of this video is
Secret rules of being an American.
not Midwestern.
And then it occurred to me that while this is a Midwestern stereotype, it's probably something that people experience in other parts of the country too. Let me know if your family does this, and until the next video, goodbye. Actually, no, that's not it. If you have not yet seen my video about American inventions that changed Britain forever, part 2 is coming very soon. So watch part 1 now. Until the next video, goodbye. No, I was talking to my audience.
Goodbye, Lawrence. Some of these I don't think are just American things. Some of these, I'm almost 100% sure that British people do this too. Right? Let me know in the comments that I won't read. I'd like to thank my patrons. I'd like to thank my Buy Me a Coffee folks. Thank y'all for watching this with me, and I'll see you next time. Later.